Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so nice to see everyone. To those who are joining us online, for those who are on Zoom, I see you more or less. For those who are joining us on the live stream and on Facebook and however else you got here, know that we are glad that you are joining us this Shabbat. I'm checking the computer. Last week I forgot to set up something. I think I got it right this week. It's nice to see everyone. For everyone who's here with us in the sanctuary this evening, we want to welcome you. It's nice to be together as we celebrate Shabbat. I especially want to welcome back our very own and beloved Cantor Coleman, who has returned from his sabbatical as I promised you he would. And we are glad to welcome Cantor back with us this Shabbat. So let's warm up a little bit. Let's welcome each other. Hinei matov u'mana'im shevet achim gam yachad. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is when we come together to celebrate happy times, when we come together to celebrate Shabbat.
Yeah.
is good to welcome each other as we gather on this beautiful day, on this nice Shabbat to be all together. If you turn to the back of your prayer books on page 648, we are reminded on Shabbat, Shir L'Adonai, Shir Chadash. Let us sing unto God a new song. Let us sing to God all the earth. Let us sing out in praise and thanksgiving. Let us sing a new song to God. Shir Chadash in the middle of page 648.
Sing unto God the earth song. I will sing unto God a song. Sing unto God and will sing a song unto God. Sing unto God a song. I will sing unto God a song. Sing unto God and will sing a song unto God. I will sing unto God a new song.
Before we continue, a word about masks. Again, I appreciate everyone who's here putting on a mask as we enter the sanctuary. We are in the process of re-examining our COVID protocols, what we'll be doing with masks and our vaccination proofs and all. Those are things we are discussing as we go right now. Our hope is that our numbers here in New Orleans stay where they are and are on the decline. We're a little nervous after the events of Mardi Gras and Carnival, but we are hopeful. With that said, while you're sitting here in the sanctuary, if you feel a need to take off your mask, know that in your seats, that is fine, but we ask if you are walking around, if you'll keep your mask on, we would greatly appreciate that. We turn now in our prayer books to page 120 and 121, the lighting of our Shabbat candles. I'd like to call on Janice Meir, who happens to be celebrating her. Am I allowed to tell people it's your birthday? I shouldn't tell people it's your birthday. Who is coming up and she's celebrating her birthday today.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yishanu mitzvoto v'tzivanu le'adikneh shel Shabbat.
Page 123, we join with the cantor in the chanting of our Shabbat Kiddush, the sanctification of this Sabbath day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'kafem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvoto v'ratzovanu. B'shabbat kodshu be'ahavahu tatzum mikrilanu. Zikaron le'maseh bereshit. Bihu yom tehillah u'mikdar hakodesh. Zecher yitziat Mitzrayim. Imanu b'charta ve'otanu kidashta b'kol ha'anim. B'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahavahu natzon nimokanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
We turn now to page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. Together, to love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. At the bottom of page 127, we offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope together, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. On page 130, L'chuna ranana l'Adonai na'ariya l'tzur yish'enu. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come to God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. In that spirit, we turn to page 138 and we continue with Lecha Dodi.
Yeah.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 146, and we rise for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da yai da da. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amevorach.
Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma potzeach sha'arim, u'vitbuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, orei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom u'mevir laila, uma'avdil ve'en yom u've'en laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamidim loch aleinu, le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue on page 150. So we read together in the English. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo, Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzaveka hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlachtecha v'derech ushokbecha ukumhecha ushartam le'yot v'yedecha v'hayu letotafo b'neinecha ukavtam omizazot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru asitem ekol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelokechem Ani Adonai Eloheichem Asher Hotzeiti Atem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Yot Lachem Levohim Ani Adonai Eloheichem.
We continue on the top of page 157. I'll put the words back up on the screen. Whoops. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. On page 158, we continue with our song of freedom and redemption, Micha Mocha.
Micha Mocha Ha'elim Adonai Micha Mocha Neda Bakodesh Micha Mocha Ha'elim Adonai Micha Mocha Neda Bakodesh Nora Tehilot, O Seifele. Nora Tehilot, O Seifele. Lo Chukara Uvanecha, Okei Ayam Lifnei Moshe, Zeini Anu Ve'yam. Adonai Imloch, le'olam vared. Adonai Imloch, le'olam vared.
Page 159. Tonight we have an emphasis on our prayers for peace. Let's join together in the English. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. We continue on page 160. With our Hashkivenu prayers, we ask God to spread God's shelter of peace over us, over Jerusalem, over all the world.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, v'choshienu leman shamecha. Help us to know that you're near, that your presence is here. Let us lie down in peace every night. And when we rise in the day, keep us sheltered, we pray. Guide us, God, with your love and your light. Baruch atah Adonai, Aporesu Shalom, Aleinu ve'at olamo Yisrael. Mashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, V'hamidenu shomreinu v'chayim. Mashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim.
Baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And this Shabbat in particular, we pray that God's shelter of peace may be extended over Ukraine. We continue now on page 162 with the covenant of Shabbat V'Shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'odokam b'nitolah. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'odokam b'nitolah. Enil vein b'nei Yisrael, oti leholam, oti leholam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'odokam b'nitolah. Ki sheshet yamim asah Adonai et ha-shamayim va'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'odokam b'nitolah. V'yom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'odokam b'nitolah.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 164, and we rise for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tivkach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Kehula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Mageh. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Be'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rav Hoshia, Mechalkel Chaim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim berofeh olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech meimit, Umekayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'nei manata l'chakayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKadosh, Atah Kadosh V'Shem HaKadosh, U'Kedoshim B'Chol Yom Yechalu Kasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We continue on page 173. Continue at the top of the page. Let's join together in the English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'Amachai Yisrael, u'tfilatam ba'ahava tikabel, u'tehila ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha levadcha v'yirah na'avod. On page 176, we find our prayer for giving thanks. Modim anachnu lach. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, v'lechana el lehodot. We continue now with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav on page 178.
Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim leholam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim leholam. Hi atah Melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Atah Melech Adon, lechol shalom. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim leolam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim leolam. B'tov peinecha levadeh Amcha Yisrael, Becholeinu b'koshat, Yishlomecha. Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Leholam, Hasim Leholam, Hasim Leholam.
If you'll turn, please, to page 179. There we find our prayer for peace, especially important as we gather on this Shabbat, just over a week into the war that's going on in Ukraine. We pray for peace, peace everywhere. If you'll join me in the English at the top of the page. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, eternal one, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, mevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We'll take a few moments now for our own silent prayer. We turn now in our prayer books to page 371. There we find the words of our Mishaberach prayer for healing. As we gather together this Shabbat, we give thanks for all the blessings in our life. We think at this moment, especially the blessing of health. We pray for all of those who are sick, all of those who are recovering, all who are in need of wholeness and wellness. The prayers of our congregation go out especially this Shabbat on behalf of Edward Lefko, James O'Neill, Howard Robinson, Gig St. Romain, Joel Webb. We think of all of those who are needlessly suffering in Ukraine. We think of all of those here in our own community who could use healing and help. I ask if you have any additional names that you would like to share. I invite you to say those names out loud now. Mishaberach Avatenu v'Imotenu. May God who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all those who are sick. May God swiftly send them a refuata nefesh, refuata guf, a renewal of body, soul, and mind. So we join together in our Mishaberach prayer for healing there in the middle of page 371.
May the source of strength will bless the ones before us. Help us find the good will make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Souls in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Today, of course, is the first Friday in the month of March, which means it is time for us to celebrate some happy occasions. And we look forward to celebrating with all of those who are observing an anniversary and/or a birthday this month. So we begin with all of those who are celebrating a wedding anniversary this month. I ask you to rise where you are, whether your partner's here or not, and that applies to you guys at home too. To all who are celebrating an anniversary, we say, Mishaberach Avatenu v'Imotenu Avraham v'Sarah Yitzchak v'Rivka Yaakov Leah v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob, Leah and Rachel, bless all of these couples celebrating their wedding anniversaries in the month of March. God of all generations, we give thanks for the many blessings that have graced their lives and marriage over the years. May they look back upon the day of their union with thankfulness. May this joy be with them always, their way of life loving and good, as they continue to help each other to bear life's burdens as well as share in life's joys. In joys and trials alike, O God, you have been with them. So may you continue to be with them, guiding and sustaining them in the years to come. Grant them, O God, a peaceful dwelling where contentment and love find a resting place. May they maintain a home in which glows the light of faith, one which honors our membership in the house of Israel, our people. O God, grant that they may grow old together in health and in love, and live in gratitude for their marriage always. As together we say, Amen. And you may be seated. We look forward to adding to that list those who are getting married this month, so that next year, Jed is going to be celebrating, God willing, an anniversary this month. And now we turn to all of those who are celebrating birthdays in the month of March. Today is Janice's birthday. It was Sue's birthday on Wednesday. As I look online, I see, Marcus, your birthday, which day is your birthday? The 21st, excellent. Our beloved Marcus, Marcus and I are the happiest to welcome Cantor back to our services. For all of those, and I'm looking online, I think I see some folks online too who are celebrating birthdays this month. To all who are celebrating a birthday, we say, Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless all of those who are celebrating their birthdays in the month of March. God of days and years, author of life, our times are in your hand. We thank you for the blessing of life and for all that enriches our lives. As we come together the Shabbat, we gather in thankfulness to share in the happiness of our friends and family members who are turning 1 year older this month. Be with them always as the joy of their life. May they be blessed with health and happiness and with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow. May they be blessed with many more years ad mea ve'esrim, and may their lives be filled with an abundance of blessing. Baruch atah Adonai mevarech hashanim. We praise you, O God, who blesses the years. We join together now in our Shehechianu as we wish you a happy birthday and a happy anniversary. You may be seated. We join together as we give thanks to God for giving us life, for sustaining us and bringing us to this very special time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'himanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'himanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh.
Our Torah portion for this Shabbat is Parashat Pekudei. It is the very end of the book of Exodus. And there are a few thoughts I want to share with you on this special Shabbat. For the last several weeks, we've been describing the building of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. Not only were we building a holy place, a place for God to dwell and to be a part of us, but we were building the Mishkan to bring our community together. We created that Ohel Moed, that tent of meeting, that central place. And the very act of gathering the resources and building the tabernacle and everything that would go in it, on it, around it, as well as the priestly vestments, brought us together, reminded us that we are one people and that we are all in this together. I think that goes well with one of the themes of the Carnival season here in New Orleans. For those who celebrated this past, I should say week, but we know it's the last few weeks. Again, it brought our city and our community together. Many of us saw people we hadn't seen for a while. It brought us together, reminded us that we're one community and that we have obligations to each other. Unfortunately, with the situation in Ukraine, we're reminded too that in times of tragedy and war, we have to come together as well. That we are all in this together. That we need to be there for our allies. And we need to be sure that we put down leaders who bring war upon neighbors. We're all in this together. It's a theme of our Torah portion. The very beginning of this week's Torah portion, though, begins with Moses saying, let's count up all the metal donations that people made, all the gold, all the silver, all the bronze. Let's count it up one more time. Because Moses wants to be sure everyone knows that every donation has been accounted for. And he's reminding us that we have to hold our leaders accountable, even Moshe Rabbeinu. Even Moses, our leader, knew he wasn't above this. He wanted the people to trust him and to trust the leaders that would come after him. Having leaders who are trustworthy, who are held accountable, is again one of the very important lessons of our Torah reading. A lesson I think especially important for us right now. But how did all that gold and the silver and the bronze and the linens and the wood, how did all of those materials come together? Well, Moses put out the word saying, all whose hearts so move them, we need your help. We need your participation. It's not going to happen without you. And as we saw last week, the people's hearts were so moved that they actually gathered more than they knew what to do with. Such a problem to have. Well, again, As we read daily the stories of atrocity that are happening in Ukraine, we are reminded that it is up to us to be moved by our hearts into action. And I want you to consider one of the things we can do is share in our resources and make donations. I want to steer you to jewishnola.com. Again, I'm grateful to Arnie Fielko for his leadership as we come together as a community to help out not only the 100,000 Jews who are living there in Ukraine, many who are hiding in basements, some in the basements of their own synagogues. The Jewish Federations of North America has already mobilized people on the grounds there in Ukraine. I think it's important for us to support their efforts. I'm also very proud of the World Union of Progressive Judaism, which has already set up an emergency fund to support Jews in Ukraine and who know that community well. Again, there are people on the ground to make sure that those who need food, who need resources, who need shelter, will have that available to them. A couple of weeks ago, we got a message from the Religious Action Center that they were joining with the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, that this was to be Refugee Shabbat. Little did they know how important or appropriate that would be. Another wonderful organization, HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, has been rescuing Jews from Russia, Ukraine, Central and Eastern Europe for over a century. And they're working hard now to help those who are trying to get out of harm's way to get out. And they need our help. They deserve our support. Let us be counted among those whose hearts so move them. And I also want to remind folks or let you know that this coming Tuesday on March 8th at 12 noon in Lafayette Square, there will be a rally being held along with the Honorary Council of Ukraine. We're coming together to make sure that the voices of New Orleans are heard in solidarity with those who live in Ukraine. Again, for more information, I invite you to go to the Federation website. We finished reading one of the 5 books of the Torah this week. We finished the book of Exodus. And as we finish each book, we say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Let us be strong. Let us be strong and let us strengthen one another. Again, that message is so important for us this Shabbat. Let us be strong. Let us share our strength with those who need it most. And by doing so, we will help to strengthen them. We will help them to overcome their enemies. We will help them to, God willing, achieve peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will.
Rabbi, it's good to be back home. I was thinking about what could I sing for this Shabbat in honor of the devastation and the war that's happening in Ukraine. And I was thinking about the master thesis that I wrote at Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion on a Yiddish singer by the name of Sidor Belarsky. And if the name doesn't resonate with you, that's okay, because Sidor Belarsky passed away in 1975. But for almost 50 years, Sidor Belarsky was the man that if there was some kind of a Zionist event being held, some kind of event where they wanted Yiddish song, Yiddish folk song sung, Sidor Belarsky was the man. And for many Jews, he was their Caruso. And he was born in the Ukraine. And he was born in 1898 in a tiny, tiny town where, I'm going to tell you how many Jews there were. There were 688 Jews. That's it. But they were 50% of the population because in this tiny little town, there were only 1,200 residents. He made his way over to Odessa, because Sidor Belarsky was a classically trained singer. And Odessa, which is also in the Ukraine, that was the place to go to learn, and to learn the fine arts as a classical singer. You may wonder why or how he made his way over to the United States. Well, believe it or not, this is very different. But you see, the president of Brigham Young University in Utah sponsored Sidor Belarsky to come over and teach at Brigham Young in 1930. And that's how he got to America. He tried to do a teaching career, which he was successful, made his way to Los Angeles, and tried to start an opera career, but his calling was singing the Yiddish art song. And this piece that he arranged is called Was machst du epis Moishele. And the piece is entirely in Yiddish. So let me tell you what it's about. You'll hear many Jewish people, even if they don't know Yiddish, they'll say, Nu, was machst du? How are you? And Mr. Barton would say that to me too. So this piece is, Was machst du epis Moishele? How are you, Moishele? How well I remember you. You are my dear friend from many years ago when we were schoolmates. And long ago, I can still see that mean, mean teacher. And this is the choral refrain, which you'll hear 3 times. Oi, I will sing oi, but the translation is, oh, how can we recapture those wonderful times? And I'm sure those people in Ukraine today are thinking about what life was just like just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, how can we recapture those wonderful times, those youthful days of long ago? How can we recapture the years, Moishalem, my friend? And he talks about how his heart yearns even for that mean teacher. And he asks, how is Berele and Avremele and Zamale and Yosele? And he thinks of those friends often. And he imagined himself among them. And as we've grown older, how quickly life passes by. And oh, how can we recapture those years? My heart still yearns for the young men that we were. Was machst du epis Moishele?
Was magst du epis Moishele? Erkenn dich noch an dich. Du bist gewann mein Chaveno mit Jahren viel zu dir. Und euch in Cheder haben wir gelernt lang beinahe. Und steht vor mir der Rebbe noch, der Kanschek in sein Hand. Oi, wo mem zurück die Jahre in jene schöne Zeit. Oi, das junge schöne Leben ist unschön weit. Oi, wo mem zurück die Jahre in Moishele, mein Freund. Oi, nach jenem Wesen Reben fängt das Herz noch ein. Was machst dein Schwester Rachele? Wie wollt sie ich's gesehen? Sie is amol gedenkst du noch, mir noch zum Herz gewinn. Nur sie geliebt hat Berelen, der Hasses Anschum grün, geblieben diesen Herzen lang, nicht verhält Wund. Oi, wo Menschen liegt die Jahr in jene schöne Zeit. Oi, das junge schöne Leben ist unschön weit. Oi, wo Menschen liegt die Jahr in Moishele, mein Freund. Oi, nach jene schöne Rachele fängt das Herz noch ein. Die Gegend Heppes, Berelen, Avremele, was machst? Und Samele, und Jossele, sehr oft und sehr getracht. Geholem von euch kinderlach, gesehen sich in der Miet, geworden alte Jidelach, wie schnell das Leben fliegt. Oi, wo man liegt die in jene schöne Zeit. Oi, das junge schöne Leben ist von uns schon weit. Oi, wo man liegt die Meuschele, mein Klein. Oi, noch jene Jugendleiden bringt das Herz noch ein.
We turn in our prayer books now to page 586, and we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabbat l'adon ha'kol l'teit gidolah l'yotzer prechi lo asanu k'goyei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam kalkeinu lehem v'gor aleinu k'kol hamonam v'nahachnu torim u'mishtachavim u'modim l'ifnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Towards the conclusion of every service, we have our prayer by Yom Hahu, the world that could be, which includes our prayer for a peaceful future. Page 589. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
The Melech Bayom Ahu, Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad.
Page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down in gutters. There's an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and light. We turn now to page 598. As we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, as we mourn the loss this week of Rabbi Sandy Marcus, Captain Brian Lampard, and Sidney Bestoff III. We are in Shloshim for Ann Friedman, Ann Zivitz-Kinks, Charlie Kahn, and Cynthia Ward. We think of those who died in this season in years past, those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own, as we lovingly recall the art site now of Dr. Mary G. Ashinsky, Coleman E. Adler, Richard Morris Adler, Emily Ann Stein Benjamin, Joan Opatowski Kaplan, Michelle Kaplan, Reuben A. Cohen, Irene B. Davis, Edna G. Eisenman, Fanny Claire Kahn Grossman Evanchik, Russell George Ferran, Joyce Lutz Frank, Norma Oken Greenberg, Margaret Dreyfus Grossman, Joel Kern Handelman, Odette Grossman Haspel, D.H. Hirschberg, Rose Stein Levy, Leo Levy Lowentritt, Beatrice Levy Marcuse, Sally Marks, Julian Meir, Selma Cohn Myers, Mildred Bauer Myers, David Regenstein, Emma B. Schornstein, Jeanette Meyer Simon, Harry Spira Sr., Morris Strug, Dr. Walter C. Tuman, and Fanny Wolfson. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be an everlasting blessing as we rise now as one community to recite the words of Kaddish Yatom there on page 598. Yitkadzal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, v'almad yivrach erutzei, v'yamlich malchutzei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv, v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shmei dekudisha, v'reichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, ta'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shamayim v'chayim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up to the Bima for his first time as our elected treasurer, Carlos Adame, for a few announcements and words of welcome. Thank you, Carlos.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Temple Sinai. The Bima flowers for this Shabbat were sponsored by Janice Meir and Michael Buddha in memory of Julian Meir. Coming up at Temple Sinai, we have a virtual Torah study tomorrow morning beginning at 9:15, followed by our Shabbat morning service, which will begin at 10:30. Both can be accessed online via Zoom and will be streaming live on our Facebook page and website. On Thursday, March 10th at noon, we will be hosting our first senior luncheon in partnership with Glade Wave, including guest speaker Dr. Louis Glade, who will be speaking on health and safety for seniors during COVID. To reserve your spot at the luncheon, please make sure to call the Temple office or check this week's Temple Sinai e-blast. Tickets to our Saturday afternoon, April the 2nd Garden Party Gala at Longview Gardens are on sale. Through Monday, March 7th is the deadline for patron level tickets to get their names on the printed invitation. For more information on this exciting event, make sure to check the Temple website on this week's email blast. We are also accepting donations for a gala auction and raffle. If you'd like to donate a prize or auction item, make sure to visit our website or contact the Temple office. Be sure to check the website as we prepare to open bidding soon. Thank you. Rabbi, would you like to repeat the invitation for the meeting at Lafayette Square?
Sure.
Oh, okay. This Wednesday, what time does the adult ed class do? 7 o'clock. On Zoom, I'll be talking about, I'll have two times on Wednesday, March 9th and then March 23rd. I'll be sharing you about my experiences of my sabbatical, where I visited Jewish communities and Louisiana and Texas and Mississippi and Florida. And I hope you'll join me online. Thank you.
Couple of things. Again, we're happy to have Cantor back with us, and we look forward to hearing about his adventures. I also want to remind everyone, mark your calendars, Purim is less than 2 weeks away. We'll start celebrating Purim on Sunday the 13th. We'll join with the JCC here in Uptown for their drive-through Purim redo, starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Wednesday evening, March 16th at 6 o'clock. We will have our Purim service and Megillah reading. Please join us. It'll be a lot of fun here in person or online. And then on Sunday the 20th, we'll be celebrating with our students at Chavurah at Sinai. Again, those organizations that I mentioned before, I want to encourage us to go to the Federation websites to support Jewish Federations of North America, the World Union of Progressive Judaism, which is WUPJ.org as well, or the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, HIAS. And the rally, the pro-Ukrainian rally, will be this Tuesday, that's March 8th, at noon in Lafayette Square, again, expressing our support here in New Orleans for the people of Ukraine. We will conclude our service this evening with a prayer for peace. If you'll turn, please, to page 657. Od Yavo Shalom. Peace will surely come for us, for Ukraine, for all the world. I invite you to please rise and let's join together.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'achulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'achulam. Salam Aleinu ve'achol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
May God grant strength to our people. Adonai Yivarech et Amo v'Shalom. May God bless us, our families, our congregation, our community, our country, and all those who serve and protect it. May God bless the land and people of Israel and all the world with the blessing of Sabbath peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's on Zoom. We want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom as well. It is nice to see you. Let's see. Whoops. I see. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. Shabbat Shalom, Terry and Mary. I see you there.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, John and Amy. Shabbat Shalom, Kurt. Shabbat Shalom to the folks in Tulsa. Shabbat Shalom to Sharon. Shabbat Shalom, Bill. Shabbat Shalom, Holly. It's so nice to see everyone. Thank you for joining with us this Shabbat. It's great to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.